Are you stressed out because you know that when you want to manifest something, you should stay on a mental diet, positive thinking, and all of that stuff, and now you're getting more and more anxious because you just cannot do it right now, but you really do want to have your desire? Well, this video may help you, and in this video I'm going to give you 5 techniques to instantly stop anxiety. Okay, it's like an SOS technique, and in the end I'm going to give you 5 more long-term techniques to prevent stepping into anxiety. But let's start today. SOS. So you are in anxiety. And also, of course, make sure to watch the entire video, because one of those tips may be the right perfect fit for you, and maybe it is number 5. But now, you are anxious. Okay, something happened, something triggered you. What do you do now? My first tip in this video is smile. And you heard it right, just smile. And you may maybe think like, wait, what? So just smile, I have nothing to smile about. It doesn't matter. Just smile. Even if it's not a pretty smile, it's just a grin, maybe. It doesn't even matter. Just get the tips of your lips up. Because when you do that, your brain notices, wow, he or she is smiling. Something good must be happening. Let's release some of the happy hormones. When I learned this trick, I was actually told that you have to smile. I forgot the exact amount. I think it was like a minute. 1 minute of smiling and you release those hormones. But I tried it one time when I was in crisis, and I have to say I probably sat there for like 5 minutes like this. So it did take a little bit longer. So please do not count the seconds, okay? Just smile until you feel this release. But if you really do it, it does help. And again, it doesn't even have to be a pretty smile. Just tip of your mouth up. Stress hormones, those endorphins, get released even faster if instead of smiling, you can just laugh. And you can fake laugh in the beginning. And, just try to really get into it. And sometimes that fake laugh turns into a real laugh. Or just look at something like a YouTube video, something that's really, really funny, those funny memes, something where you know that it can make you laugh, and then just try to exaggerate it a little bit more. Also, there is something called laughter yoga. I'm not an expert, but I'm sure you will find some videos on YouTube about laughter yoga, so you can do that. As I just said, it does release endorphins, happy hormones in your body that can also act as painkillers, and of course, mood elevators. So the next step, breathing exercises. And you can do the square breathing. I actually have a video on this channel about square breathing. I think it's also called box breathing. And what you do is you take a number of seconds. In my video I took 4. And it's square breathing because you inhale 4 seconds. You hold it 4 seconds, then you exhale for 4 seconds, and you hold 4 seconds, and then inhale, hold, exhale, hold, right? In my video, I give you a little sound every time the next step comes, and I do have a visual that shows you how long you have to inhale, hold, and exhale and hold. That can also help to release happy hormones in your body and, of course, reduce anxiety. Also, another thing is some physical activity like stretching or maybe just jumping a little bit up and down, because that can help release tensions in your body and then at the same time promote the production of happy hormones, in this case endorphins in your body, but also other neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. So just a little workout, and again, it doesn't have to be anything too wild. Just jump up and down, stretch for a couple of minutes. Another thing you could do is maybe you have that one song you connect to a very happy memory, or you have this person that every time you think about them you feel good. You can do that. I always advise to put on music, but something that you know puts you in a good mood. And even better if it is something that you already had a nice experience with. Let's say, I don't know, you remember, wow, I had this prom date when I was 16, 17, and we danced to this one song and I felt so good. And then you have a very happy memory, and just making something up, it could be anything, of course. When you listen that, then the song and the memory are connected for your subconscious mind. We call it an anchor. So when you now listen to the same song, the same emotion should come up that came up back then when you first had the experience listening to that song. So that is something you could do in that moment. By the way, if you want coaching by someone who has now 19 years of experience in spiritual coaching and who is a certified law of assumption coach, who already helped many people to achieve their desires, you can reach out. My contact information is in the description box below. Another thing is that you activate your senses, and that could be that, for example, maybe you have a perfume you really like or some oil or something, and then you just sit down and you really smell it and intake it, or you just touch something, feel the texture, and you really focus on what does this smell like, what does this feel like. Or you eat something like, I don't know, a strawberry, and then you really focus on what does it taste like. Because the moment you focus on something, you stop the pattern of going into the negative thinking, and you like disrupt the thought, right? You disrupt it, and then you can focus on something new afterwards. So let's go to the 5 long-term things you can do. Well, one thing is seek a coach. Maybe even someone who has certification when it comes to mental struggles. For example, a cognitive behavior therapist. Someone who can help you to identify where is this coming from. Or I'm a hypnosis therapist, for example. So I know that in hypnosis you could go into the situation like, okay, I have this problem. Where is this coming from? Because often it is some things that we completely forgot, some situations, and then once we know where the root is, not the symptom right now that's flaring up, because we know you manifest everything, so we want to find the root, and then you can actually tackle it by having new affirmations, by going to hypnotherapy or any other therapist who is trained in order to help you find the core issue and then to transform it. Of course, if you already know the core issue, watch my videos on the revision technique. I'm a huge fan, and I'm going to release even more videos on the revision, but I already released a couple childhood revision videos on how to actually revise your childhood, because often the core of our anxiety can be found there, but you can actually reprogram that. Not change your literal memories, but change your energy around them. But I do explain that more in those videos. Another thing long term you could do is journaling, to just write down your emotions and what you think on that day, and that can also help you to find some patterns. Because if you notice you keep thinking negatively about the same thing, like I'm not worthy, for example, then you know exactly that when you read that, oh, that thought I thought many times, and that is the feeling that comes up. Then you can also reprogram it, for example, by the revision, Ho'oponopono, the tapping methods like EFT or MET, if you want to research those on YouTube. Did I already say revision? I'm just a big fan of revision. And then you can actively change that, or you can use affirmations. Number 3 is, that one can be a little bit hard, but if you identify patterns you have, or maybe there's people in your life, maybe it's the old friend that you've known since kindergarten, but sometimes it really helps to realize this is not giving me anything anymore. It is time to release it. Not just because they're going maybe through a problem. If people go through problems, we're still there with them, but maybe you have that friend or a parent or another family member who are always in this negative energy, who are always draining you, where you felt for a long time, every time I talk to that person, I feel bad afterwards. I'm sorry, then maybe it is time to cut those cords. And I always say, nobody has the right to make me feel bad, and nobody has the right to stay in my life if they make me feel bad. So sometimes, even if it's hard, it's time to release some things. It could be a job you don't like anymore, it could be people, or you at least distance yourself from them. Which is also the next point. Try to limit yourself from negative triggers. So it's important to figure out what does trigger you, and here journaling can help as well. Is it a specific place you go to? Is it a specific person? Is it just a habit you have? Is it something a specific person does that triggers you? Please learn more about the law of assumption and mirroring, because we do not want to blame the other person. We don't blame ourselves either. If you have subconscious programs, it's not our fault, but now it's our responsibility to actually tackle those. So find out what your triggers are and then try to avoid them. And also, if it is another person, avoid that person or actively change them in your mind. And I do have a new video coming up soon. I'm going to record today about the 4 ways to actually change a situation with someone. There's 4 steps, 4 magical steps. But also you can watch my video on how to manifest someone, because it doesn't have to be love. Even though that videos on how to recreate someone you love or how to manifest a relationship, you can apply that to change any person. So you can do the active work to find your triggers, and if it's people, to actively reprogram your assumptions about them, that then they can mirror different assumptions back to you. In general, the last one is lifestyle changes. That is basically, you could say, a summary of many of the other things I give you. It's healthy sleep patterns, trying to work out on a regular basis, a balanced nutrition, avoid things like alcohol, cigarettes, actually also caffeine. I'm really bad at not drinking coffee. I'm an addict when it comes to coffee. But find out what maybe negative patterns you have, or what do you intake. Intake is a mental diet. For example, don't expose yourself to the news. I don't watch news since, I don't know, 20 years or so, because every time I was watching the news I was crying, because they always show you the bad stuff, right? And if you're sensitive, don't intake that. Just don't do it. Click off. Whenever you see something that is triggering you, you can click off, because if you cannot help that person who is struggling, you still intake that bad feeling, but you cannot change it anyway. So click off. I mean, if you see a situation where you can actively help, yes, then do that. Because again, helping other people also can release happy hormones, but don't help other people if you have nothing to give, okay? It's not about egoism, but people who don't take care of themselves are getting exploited, because they show the universe, I don't deserve to be taken serious, I don't even take my own needs serious, and then of course that is getting mirrored back by other people not accepting your boundaries because you don't accept your own boundaries. And then of course, yeah, people who put themselves last are getting mirrored, that they get put last by everybody else as well. So one lifestyle change is take good care of yourself, stay on a mental diet. And by mental diet, I mean stop negative thoughts, but also watch out what information you consume. But I hope it helped. Please check out my other content, and if you want to learn meditating, you can check out my robotic affirmation and subliminal videos on my new channel, Janine Nicole Robotic Affirmations and Subliminal. I do see you there or in coaching. Until then, I do wish you all the best now. Bye bye.